Morning, folks. So, today's topic is profanity. And there's a link in the description to I think it's about a minute-long clip that shows Beto O'Rourke doing something very silly, being laughed at, and then immediately turning around and calling someone a motherfucker. And the crowd goes wild. Now, Beto O'Rourke does not exactly inspire wild swings of emotion. Certainly not in me. But profanity has a shock value when you're not foul-mouthed, like my fucking self. I don't usually use profanity that much when I do my videos, but in general conversation, I'm pretty foul-mouthed. What struck me the most about that video isn't that Beto used a profanity. It was the crowd's reaction to it. Almost as if they've been programmed, which in a sense they have by modern mainstream media, to react with a sort of gleeful outrage to profanity. And while you will encounter people who will say things like, oh, using profanity makes you seem crude or lower class, it's actually incorrect. Using profanity, overuse. My camera angle's not the best. Just a second. Fucking thing, get over there. Okay. And that was unconscious use of profanity. But when you, which of course is what Beto O'Rourke did in his clip, it was unconscious. He probably, had he had half a moment to think about what he was going to say, rather than just swinging around and reacting, he quite probably would have ended up not using the profanity, probably restraining himself from doing so. But with someone who's not conversant with profanity, someone who doesn't use it on a regular basis, especially a population that doesn't use it on a regular basis, when you do use it, you will inspire one of two reactions. You will either get the you've lowered the tone response, or you'll get what happened in that clip. The crowd goes absolutely insane and cheers for the use of the profanity. Neither response is really appropriate. Overuse, by all means, it does lower the tone. But if some sort of heavy engine coming, or loud engine anyway, don't know if you guys can hear that. Sounds like a four-wheeler. Anyway, if you're going to use profanity, if you're writing, or writing a speech, anything like that, if you're crafting words, you have to be careful where you put your profanity. If you're simply conversing with someone, it's perfectly normal to use profanity from time to time, either for emphasis or to make a point, or to very, very clearly show your displeasure about something. Now, being a Newfoundlander, profanity is fairly common in our average discussions. And it doesn't matter whether it's an old woman or a young girl, young boy, well, not too young. We do discourage, mostly, foul language from children. That's a cultural thing. But to grown men talking, it's not unusual to hear the F word or damn or hell quite often, which are mild profanities, but still profanities. I'm an atheist, and I tend to use Jesus quite a lot. Um, Again, cultural. Uh, I do consciously try to avoid it because I have had times where I've been discussing something with a very Christian friend and, of course, slipped and said, "Oh, that Jesus idiot," or something like that, and unintentionally offended them. Very Christian. Um, and I don't censor myself to avoid offending them. I censor or to avoid offending people. I censor myself to avoid offending my friends. It's a very big difference. But uh, this almost knee-jerk Pavlovian response that the crowd displayed indicates to me that profanity is so unusual that it's actually become a tool of speech. Uh, for example, Beto O'Rourke was talking about infringing the Second Amendment. He was talking about gun control, as usual, which, to me, would make me far more angry. Someone attempting to infringe on a right of mine would make me far more angry than someone cursing. And it wouldn't matter what word they used. I would be far more offended at someone using or attempting to tell me what I could and couldn't do. Especially when that breaks or infringes on my human rights. Or my legal rights, I should say, not necessarily human rights. I don't know if you guys can hear those seagulls either. But when profanity has that kind of shock value, it becomes very easy to use as a tool of distraction, which is exactly what Beto O'Rourke capitalized on. It was an unintentional use of profanity, but it was very much capitalized on by the people who were, and let's not kid ourselves, there are almost certainly people in that crowd who worked for Beto O'Rourke who, the moment he swore, leapt to their feet, realizing that the guy had laughed at Beto because of that stupid pose he struck. And I would expect the guy was laughing already because of what Beto had said. That the AR-15 was designed to punch a hole in someone's helmet at 500 years. No, that's not what it was designed for at all. Go look at a bit of history. Which is another thing people really need to start studying again. History. But when you can use profanity as a distraction, then you can be in the worst kind of position rhetorically in a debate and simply call your opponent a motherfucker and derail the entire conversation. If you're close to evenly matched. If you're in a disadvantageous position, if you're losing the debate, using profanity may give you a bit of an image boost, but generally it's going to make it look like you're a sore loser. And a final point here, I'm going to cut off at about 10 minutes. A final point with profanity is, well, one thing I did want to say earlier that I skipped, so there will be two more points, I guess. But one point that I did want to bring up about profanity is that if you're going to use it, you damned well better have some proficiency with it. And if it's something you don't use often, injecting it, not necessarily at random, but in a poorly crafted manner, is going to make it seem as if you're inept, as if you don't know what you're doing. It's like a 5-year-old saying shit. It's funny, but it's funny because it's cute, not funny because it's impactful. It won't be striking, it'll just be cute. And there's not a man alive who wants to hear his words described as, oh, that's cute. And while I've got a bit of a facility for languages, my favorite part of any language to study, other than hello and thank you, which I guess probably is a bit of a Canadian thing, culture. But one of my favorite things to learn in a new language is the swear words, the profanity, because it really gives you a sense of, it can give you a good sense of the culture that that language is based in. French, for example, I'm actually going to go a little longer, sorry. But in Quebecois French, for example, and I apologize for any Quebecois listeners, I am going to say some very, very horrible swears in the next few seconds. Tabernacle, shaktacalas. These are terms. Tabernacle is tabernacle. Shaktacalas is pieces of the chalice, if I recall correctly. And basically, they're all Catholic related. Quebecois French, the Quebecois rather, are by and large a Catholic people. In Spanish, you have maricon, cabron, puta, I'm sure there's another one that I'm forgetting, but these are basically sexuality related. And generally the swear is something that is not heterosexual in nature, or is a perversion of the, or references a perversion of the natural order idea that marriage is a man and a woman, sex is a man and a woman, that sort of thing. If I recall correctly, maricon is homosexual. Cabron, I don't know cabron. I did. I've forgotten it. But puto or puta is whore. So it's basically based on sex and sexuality. In Arabic, I'm struggling to remember some of them are very sexual. Kuzamek is, if I recall correctly, up your mother's never mind. And I would not be shocked if YouTube actually pulls this for profanity. So I will attempt to upload it to YouTube. If it doesn't end up on YouTube, I will post it to my Gab, and I'll post the link on my socials. I'll be doing a woodworking stream later as well, finishing off that candle holder. What else do I have to do today? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll get the shilling out of the way while I'm thinking about it. Please like, share, subscribe, comment if you feel it's worthwhile. Donate. But in Arabic, they also have Fatma, which is slave, or bitch is the cognate in English. But Fatma is specifically directed at women, and it specifically means slave. So their focus is generally, ironically, misogynist. Well, I guess it's not that ironic when you consider Islam as a religion, but we'll leave that part alone too. In Japan, you have baka and gaijin, so idiot, or and it depends on which part of Japan apparently you're in for baka, B-A-K-A. In Now I may have this backwards, but as I recall, in the south part of Japan, calling someone baka is equivalent to calling them a shithead. It's fairly mild. Uh, but in northern Japan, using the word baka, and as I said, I may have north and south switched, using baka can be essentially fighting words. Um, in that way, they gaijin and baka are both insults. Gaijin is specifically aimed at foreigners, uh, and baka means idiot, essentially. But the reason those two kind of go together in my head is because the gaijin meaning is more savage / barbarian. So it's someone who's ignorant or uncouth. And baka then being an idiot, it basically attacks your intelligence level. Tells you what's important in Japan, in the Japanese culture. Clearly, they not revere, it's a bit too much of a... They appreciate intelligence and competence. So if you're a barbarian or an idiot, you're not appreciated. In Newfoundland, excuse me, and these particular terms aren't profane. You will be called ignorant, which has a specific connotation in Newfoundland. It's someone who is rude and not educated in the social graces. They're basically brutish. But you will be called ignorant or savage. Now, savage is kind of a mild thing you'd say to your buddies. Like, geez, you fucking savage. And has nothing to do with race, no matter how much Trudeau might want to make it about race. I gotta stop doing that. I'm gonna end up with that in the thumbnail one of these times, and I'm gonna get my fucking account banned. But it has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with behavior. And Newfoundland behavior is the issue. The term landlubber, which isn't really used. I think that was more of a Hollywood creation. But we do have a term, hang-ashore. And that's someone who basically is work shy. So behavior is actually the big thing with Newfoundlanders. Just noticed how badly bagged this eye is, and that's because there's a nice little scar right here. Anyway, what else have we got going on? So yeah, the woodworking stream is going to be this afternoon, probably 2 or 3 hours. I will be streaming with the Sultans tomorrow morning, as usual, hopefully, if all remains as it is. The Shades of Dominion streams are currently on hold due to an unfortunate Susaning, which I may experience because of this video. Though I don't think I will, because on my initial channel, I had made an entire video talking about different types of profanity, so we'll see. Other than that, yeah, there's, I'll be doing my stream at 11:30 Newfoundland time this Sunday. I'm going to start it early because it seems when I try to stream towards the end of the day, either I'm running into bandwidth issues or whatever causes whatever high traffic on the internet connections creates. Maybe it is bandwidth. I'm not a tech guy. Damn it, Jim. I'm a woodworker, not tech support. Yeah. Anyway, you know, go out and swear at somebody. Make yourself feel better. No, I'm kidding. Don't go swearing at people. Swear at people who deserve it. Just be sure they deserve it. Other than that, there's not a lot going on. Yeah, not a lot going on. Anyway, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.